Good morning, Honorable Minister Didiza and all dignitaries attending this session this morning. And ladies and gentlemen, and thank you once more, Roger, for the introduction. So I will just talk about the South African fresh fruit industry. Okay, just a brief background on who Fruit South Africa is. This is our structure. We are an umbrella organization representing Berries South Africa, the Fresh Produce Exporters Forum of South Africa, HotGrow. HotGrow represents the palm and stone fruit industries, and the South African Subtropical Growers Association, who are responsible for the affairs of the Mango Growers Associations, the Lychee Growers Association, and the Avocado Growers Association. And then we also have the South African Table Grape Industry. And lastly, the Citrus Growers Association of Southern Africa. Southern Africa, because within the CGA, there are also growers from Zimbabwe and Swaziland. So this is just a structure of Fruit South Africa in terms of how we are organized. So Fruit South Africa is an umbrella body with those entities as members. So just to share with you our vision, we strive for a competitive, equitable, and sustainable South African fruit industry. Some of these elements will come out as I proceed with my presentation. Just some highlights in terms of our objectives as Fruit South Africa. The first objective is to establish Fruit South Africa as the collective platform for the South African fruit industry. Because here we recognize that no, there are many things that are cross-cutting in the respective member associations. So they are better dealt with or addressed collectively. So that's why we have this objective now. And the second objective is to engage constructively with government and other public institutions on policy, legislation, and other fruit industry matters. Of course, we recognize that we're not operating in an island, so this is very critical for us in terms of what we need to do to implement our mandate. So we also engage constructively with other strategic stakeholders, other than government and public institutions. And then the fourth objective is to promote and coordinate broad-based Black economic empowerment, transformation, and skills development and training. As many of you may be aware, we know the history of South Africa. I think the presentation from the Sugar Association also highlighted that. So this objective is meant to improve inclusivity in the sector, so that those who were previously disadvantaged can also participate in the fruit value chain. And the fifth objective is to gather and disseminate key industry-related information. And lastly, to communicate industry information to broader public and industry stakeholders. So in terms of our work, I outlined the objectives of Fruit South Africa, but the main areas that we focus on as Fruit South Africa, in no order of importance here, there's transformation. I indicated that we focus on transformation here, meant to bring in previously disadvantaged participants to the fruit industry value chain. So transformation is one of our priorities, and then we're also responsible for market access. So this is one of the areas that we focus on as Fruit South Africa. And you will see from my presentation why this is important for us. And then government relations as well. We really value this aspect of our focus areas, because we need government in what we do, and for the industry to thrive, we also need to support government in their programs. And lastly is information management and communication. Just some highlight in terms of the industry, in terms of its size and so forth. We currently have, these are figures of the 2020 season, 2019, 2020, and 2020, because some of the seasons overlap from one year to the next, and others are just based on one calendar year. So this is 2020 data. We have 197,000 hectares, which are under fruit production in South Africa. And from that, we produced just 5.1 million tons of fruit. Fruit in this instance, just to clarify, is fruit that are produced by the member associations of Fruit South Africa. although I must highlight that the FPEF, the Fresh Produce Exporters Forum, does not only represent, or their membership is rather not only fruit growers, the fruit industry, but they also include other fresh produce commodities. And of the 5.1 million tons produced, we exported 64% of that total production, which is about 3.2 million tons. The export market is very critical for us, as you can see here. And then 11% went to the local market, and then 25% of that production was processed into different products. And then processing in this instance also includes drying. And then in terms of jobs, these are jobs directly on farms. They don't include jobs upstream and downstream the chain. These are just jobs on the farms by the different commodities that are represented under Fruit South Africa. We're looking at 276,647. So the dependents are actually over 1 million, you know, from these people who were employed directly on the farms, and these are the full-time equivalent. And the industry is valued at more than 52 billion South African rand. And then just in terms of production, just to show the distribution in terms of the sizes of the different fruit types under Fruit South Africa, we can see citrus is the biggest commodity, followed by palm fruit, which will include apples and pears, and then table grapes will be the next one, and then stone fruit, and then avocado, and then mango, then berries, and then lychee. This is just to show the seasonality of our fresh fruit. Because of the climatic area in South Africa, we have different climates. Up more in the north, we have more the subtropical, and then we also have the spread right down by the coast in the Western Cape and so forth. So we, in any particular month in a year, there's one fruit or the other which is being produced. The presentation will be shared, so I won't go into the detail of this. So this just shows the distribution that we do have fruit throughout the year. And for details in terms of which fruit is available when, people can also refer to the presentation. So just, yeah. As I indicated, the bulk of our production is exported to different parts of the world. And then the biggest market for us is the EU and the UK combined. They take the bulk of the South African fruit exports, followed by Asia, and then the Middle East, and then the rest of Africa and North America. And there's also Russia that I skipped there, apologies for that. And there's also Far East somewhere on the right of my presentation. So to the UAE, we also export some fruit. We do have citrus that goes to the UAE, the table grapes, and then stone and palm. And then in total, in 2021, we exported just over 200 tons to the United Arab Emirates. And then just, this is more or less I'm almost done with my presentation. I thought it would be important for this forum for me to highlight the Fresh Produce Exporters Forum, which is a member of Fruit South Africa, as indicated earlier, for people who will be interested to export from South Africa. The Fresh Produce Exporters Forum is a voluntary non-profit organization and the official Fresh Produce Export Council in South Africa. So the membership of the FPEF includes of fresh produce exporters, producer exporters, export and marketing agents, pack houses, logistics, and other service providers. So their members are more than 140, and they account for about 90% of all fresh produce exported from South Africa. Fresh produce including other fresh produce other than fruit. And it is also critical to know that there are strict accreditation criteria and a code of conduct to ensure to ensure only competent and reliable marketing agents and grower exporters are admitted to the forum. So people will have some sense of assurance in terms of credibility of those that will be dealing with if they are members of the FPEF. And in this regard, the FPEF also publishes an export directory annually where they list all their members, including their contact details, the kind of commodities that they're involved with, and the part of the chain that they participate in. So it is a critical piece of information to look at if you're interested in exporting from South Africa. And their website can also be found from the Fruit South Africa website. There's a link to them, to the FPEF. And there's also a clear, the navigation is clear to reach to access the export directory. And then just in conclusion, as you can see, the South African fruit industry is well organized. We saw there the different associations that I highlighted, and they all play an active role, in the support of producers and exports. Also indicated that the industry is export oriented. And by virtue of this, it also has a long history of exports. And it also, we can also guarantee, high quality produce. We also heard from Minister Didiza's keynote address, where she mentioned, for instance, the Perishable Products Export Control Board that certifies, among other things, quality of produce that gets exported from South Africa. So you'll be assured of the quality of products that you'll be sourcing if you source from South Africa. And in terms of exports, I indicated that currently, if I look at the 2020 figures, we exported about 3.2 million tons. So these exports are expected to reach 3.6 million tons by 2025. So what this signals is that we need to grow markets, and we also need to retain and optimize existing ones. So this is very key for us because we cannot absorb all the production in the country. So we're constantly looking for new markets, and then also cementing where we are already existing. So that is all in terms of my presentation. These are just our details for those who may be interested to contact us. Our website is www.fruitsa.co.za. And from that website, you can also find links of the different member associations and their contact details. Thank you.